All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine.
All I need are some tasty waves, a cool buzz, and I'm fine.
So, Vans checkerboard slip-ons have been the undisputed king of slip-on shoes for the last 50 years, but they come along with a whole host of problems that might not even make their benefits worth it for you. People love slip-on shoes because of their convenience, their comfort, their practicality, kind of their look, but they're also followed by such a long list of cons that a ton of people cannot stand, like your significant break-in period, the intense amount of blistering, lack of any arch support, stretching out over time, and a big con for me skating is the lack of heel lockdown and how they just fly off my feet when I skate. And sizing is all over the place for you to feel comfortable. So we're going to cut these in half, go through every single pro, go through every single con, see if it's even worth it, and answer all of your burning questions about the Vans slip-ons to see if they really stand the test of time or have just gone completely the way of fast fashion to sell even more shoes. So what you do know, Vans of course started in 1966 as the Van Doren Rubber Company, and their first models were immediately picked up by skateboarders for their durable and grippy rubber construction. But if you skip to 1977, when Vans debuts a brand new style which was incredibly simple and incredibly practical, the
Style 98.
It was instantly a hit with the skateboarding and BMX community for all of its benefits. No laces to break through, durable rubber outsole, flexible and lightweight construction, and allegedly the classic checkerboard pattern originated from skaters DIY drawing on their shoes. So Vans said, why, if you can't beat them, join them. Vans actually has a cool history of like seeing what people are doing to their shoes and incorporating it into the next models. Like people were cutting the tops off of their cab highs and they went ahead and made the half cab. But the ultimate Vans slip-on watershed moment was in 1982 when the embodiment of exceptionally cool, ultimate laid-back Southern California surf skater vibe, Jeff Spicoli sported a pair of checkerboards in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It was all through that movie, and he's sick. Spicoli is like the coolest movie character of all time. Shout out to Sean Penn. That movie catapulted the checkerboards into legend, and the Vans slip-on has been a juggernaut ever since, and they are literally synonymous with that like SoCal skate and surf vibe. But like a lot of these iconic shoes that have lasted a long time, there are swirling rumors of quality, manufacturing changes, and how they might not be as good as they used to, especially as Vans has gone through some ups and some downs and acquisitions over the years. So, what are these shoes? So the brand is Vans, the style is the skate slip-on, this is the checkerboard version. They weigh this much. These ones are $65, they're made in Vietnam, and the positioning from Vans' website says, completely redesigned for modern skateboarding, the Skate Classics collection delivers more of what skateboarders need to enable maximum progression. Made with classic suede and canvas uppers, the skate slip-on gives you the iconic look you want while bringing all the performance benefits skateboarders demand. A wardrobe staple in the skateboarding community for decades, these skate slip-ons were featured in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, cementing their place in skateboarding forever. It's weird that them being in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 is like their big moment. There's so many other big moments I feel like for these shoes. It's like, what a weird thing to say, but that's just me. So I also have this version, which is the Vans skate slip-on in suede, and these ones are $60. They're also made in Vietnam, and the positioning is exactly the same from the website. I bought both versions, the canvas and the suede, just to test all the differences between them because I have all sorts of like theories and thoughts about like, oh, this one's better for this one's better for this. So we're gonna run them through all the tests, do all the numbers to see, is canvas just as good as suede or is it all just in my head? But the main pain point, and I literally mean pain point because these shoes have made me bleed before, is the sizing, which contributes to one of the harshest break-in periods ever. It's almost equivalent to like a Knicks or like a White's super tough break-in type of pain. And there are two different schools of thought on the best fit. Some people like it loosey-goosey, some people like it tight, and they're very different feeling. So in my experience, in every slip-on, you always want to size down because they're going to break in and stretch a lot, and you can't tighten them after they break in since there's no laces. But that means your feet will be feeling some serious pain for a while. Most people I know that skate slip-on suffer for about 2 to 3 weeks before they feel even good enough to skate in. I have chewed through my heels and my Achilles many times, used so much moleskins just to get through the break-in period of slip-on shoes, especially Vans. But the super tight fit helps keep your heel locked in way better so it won't start acting like a flip-flop when you start walking, which I hate. But if you buy them and they feel good right out of the box, they're gonna get super duper loose. so loose that when you fall down, they'll just fly off your feet, which some people like that. I obviously like it really tight. It's a pro or con depending on who you talk to, and you're talking to me, so it's a con for now. And so how I would size them, I'm usually a 9.5. In most Vans, I'm a 10. Like all the Vans, like classics, I'm a 10, and it fits me the best. It's just a little bit on the pointy side. So I would definitely go for a 9.5. If I was only ever going to skate in these and not use them for anything else, I would almost squeeze down into a 9 because I know how much they break in. I would never buy a slip-on online because I would have to try it on. And when you go to try it on, I'd be like, I'm a size 10. Will you give me a 9, a 9.5, and a 10 just to check? Because if they feel really good on store in my experience, they're gonna be too loose. And if they feel way too tight and they hurt your feet, they're gonna feel good after like 3 weeks. So it's just the hardest part of these shoes is the actual break-in period.
Instead of just talking about Nick Wax, I figured we'd actually give it a try. We're gonna be testing 4 different products: the nubuck and suede proof, the fabric and leather proof, the waterproof wax for leather, and the footwear cleaning gel. So we're gonna just apply a little bit of coat to this front and back. Give it a quick spritz, 6 inches away. Same thing with the suede. And while these dry, I'll tell you a little bit about Nick Wax. They started in 1977. So over what, like almost 50 years of experience making some high performance waterproofing that's completely PFAS free. And on top of that, all Nick Wax products are water-based, non-flammable, and safe for you and the planet. So now looking at the results, what do we have? Looking at the actual fabric and leather waterproofer, it did dull it just a little bit. You can see it has a little less shine than the Control. And then on the suede side, same story, just a little bit darker. That's because it's not dry all the way. So pretty good results across the board. And the thing I like most is they're very light conditioners. So many other ones on the market are way too heavy, too much mink oil, too much wax, and it completely changes the color and vibe of your boot. Whereas with Nick Wax, it's a lot lighter while still giving you all the waterproofing and protection you need. So don't do your boots dirty, clean and waterproof them with Nick Wax and make your gear last longer, and check them out. The links in my description. And thanks again to Nick Wax for sponsoring this video.
But if we move to the upper, the material can affect that break-in a ton. So let's start breaking it apart, running all the tests, see what's best for skating, see what's best for you. And I've always wanted to know if this canvas will actually hold up as well as the suede. So if we go to the checkerboard, the material is a 10-ounce canvas. It measures in at 1 millimeter thick. And for some context, normal Converse canvas, like non-skate Converse canvas, is 0.6 millimeters thick. And that canvas sock eater smugs that we made with Goral is almost 2 millimeters thick. I think that was like 34 ounces, and this is 10 ounces, just to give you some context. And if we burn it, it burns like normal canvas. There's no like heavy coatings or anything on top of it. There's no grain in it, obviously, because it's canvas. The material on this one is suede. Most likely it's cow suede. The thickness is actually 1.8 millimeters, so it's a little thicker than the usual like 1.5 millimeter you usually get out of skate shoes. And if we take it to the burn test, it doesn't melt, so it is real suede. There's no like heavy coatings on top of it either. And if we do the macro of the grain, you can see there's no tight grain pattern, so it is a true suede. If we start with a simple puncture test, the checkerboard canvas punctures at 33 pounds, and the suede punctures at 157 pounds. So pretty dang good puncture-wise. You can see suede's already looking way better than canvas. But if we take it to the most important test for skating, the abrasion test. So what we do for the abrasion test is we'll cut a sample of shoe material out. We'll cut a sample of grip tape. We'll put the grip tape on the bottom. The sample gets rubbed against the grip tape in a circular motion. It also spins it around. It's really a super good test for abrasion because you can't hide from that machine. It's a great way to simulate like 1,500 kickflips back to 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 back. You get the point. But unfortunately, the checkerboard only lasted 320 strokes. That is the best textile so far. Like the Converse we did was about like 50 or 60. That iPath Cricket Hemp was at 200, and this one's at 320. So it is more abrasion resistant than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, at 500, the suede had only lost 0.2 millimeters. At 1,000, the suede had only lost 0.4 millimeters. And it finally failed at 1,360 strokes, which is pretty dang close to that Vans Current I skated. So at least Vans is pretty dang consistent with their suede. But one awesome feature of Vans skate shoes is that they usually add a big old extra rubber layer called Duracap under the upper. So I just filleted these things apart to see if they have it, and they do. They have a very big layer of this Duracap, and it kind of goes on there like this to show you how much you actually get. So one cool thing about this is actually it's asymmetrical. So where you ollie and kickflip, you're fully covered, but then on the inside of the shoe, to help it stay a little more flexible than like say the New Balance 306, which has the extra layer of rubber all the way around it. This just skives down to nothing, so it stays flexible. It's a little bit lighter. So that's a kind of a cool way to add some hidden durability. You're especially gonna need it in this canvas one. Really, the inside of your shoe doesn't need too much protection unless you're doing like a back foot impossible, or if you're doing like 10,000 no complies. All right, you might need a little bit on the inside of your shoe for something like that. When I was doing all the research for the Vans Curran skate shoe, Curran Cables said he likes to skate the checkerboards because they don't stretch as much as the canvas, so they keep their shape for longer. And in theory, the suede will stretch more than canvas, but let's do an on-screen stretch test to kind of tell. I don't know, can you see how much this is stretching? It's definitely stretching. I can feel it stretching. I don't know if this is coming off on camera, but this is stretching a lot. Like, look how misshapen it is from where it was. These were pretty much the same shape right here, and it's like stretched out almost twice as long. So if we go to the canvas, that's not stretching at all. Like, I can feel it not stretch. It's gonna rip before it stretches. That's insane, actually. So theory confirmed, canvas will stretch much less, almost none, and this will stretch a lot. But you know, that helps the break-in for some people. But if you like a very rigid shoe, go for the checkerboard, I suppose. But there are some cons that I didn't even realize until I was halfway through this video, is that on most skate shoes, you're gonna see double or triple stitching on most places. And this has double stitching here. This would probably be better if it was triple stitching because it's the one stitch that you can actually blow through. But on the back, it's just that single stitch right there. This would probably be better if it was double stitching. It matters a lot less on the heel because you're not doing the majority of your tricks on your heel. You do the majority of your work up here. But I think for a skate shoe, it probably would be good to add another stitch up here and maybe just a double one here, just in case. There's 2 stitches on this whole shoe, so you might as well beef them up. But speaking of upper durability, I have been sitting on an idea ever since I started working here 5 years ago. And now after, you know, breaking my ankle, I've got a lot of free time. So I was like, well, I might as well make it happen. So welcome to the Rose Anvil Employee Shop Corner. Everyone who works here is super talented and has side businesses. Like Taylor, our manufacturing manager, has a leather company on the side. Josh and Addie, who work in manufacturing, have like a super sick Christmas decorating company. And Addie makes some really awesome homemade ceramic ornaments. All the video editors, they all have like their side photography businesses. Cass and Micah, they make super sick documentaries like Tintype one we did, and like music videos. So everyone has something going on, which is really cool about working at Rose Anvil because like we work hard here, but then we're allowed to use all of our stuff to like start our own stuff. It's like a little seeder machine here. So I am starting a business to save your skate shoes with all the knowledge I've gained about leather over the past few years. We have Patchwork's premium pig suede patches. I know people that can blow through their leather in one session. I have done it before and it pisses me off. You just spent $100 on that shoe and you put a hole in it in one day and now you got to deal with that and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger each time you skate. I mean, you can repair it, but there's never been like a really good way, in my opinion, to do it. So what I've learned is that pig suede is one of the most abrasion resistant leathers we have ever tested. So for the last 6 months, I have been developing the perfect shape for this patch and I think that I have come up with it. And it's super simple, but usually the simplest solution is the best solution. So what I've come up with is a triangle. What you do is you'll take this triangle, you'll lace it through your eyelet, and instead of there being a hole right here, it's just a little flap. So that flap should help keep your laces intact as you ollie. So you'll lace it through your eyelet, you'll kind of measure where it needs to go, you'll cut it off at the outsole or really wherever you want it to end. I like to end at the outsole. Then you'll glue it down and wait at least 30 minutes and then you're good to go. I've had my friend skating on this one. You can see the difference between not having anything right there. He's gonna start cooking through this leather, especially heavily coated like PU plastic leather. You're gonna start cooking through that leather pretty quick. Just add the patch and you'll almost double the life of your upper. And if you're sick of blowing through your shoes way too fast, like the New Balance Reynolds is like $135 for a shoe. So if you want something like that to stay good as long as you can, just throw a patch on it, blow through the patch, pull the patch off, put another one on, your shoe's still good. So you can try these out, I'll link them down below. And for the Rose Anvil people, you can use the code MAKEMELASTLONGER for 10% off. It is the first wave, so like, let me know what you like about it, let me know what you hate about it, what I should do, other colors I should release. So if we move into the inside on the lining of these shoes, you can see throughout the whole shoe is lined with this 0.5mm canvas lining. But unfortunately, they both have this like fake leather collar, which I don't love. Like, it'll feel softer than this canvas, but it just gets gross. It gets stinky when you sweat in there. We burned it and it melts and goops up. So it's just plastic on your foot, which, I mean, you might as well just make that canvas, but I can see why they'd want something a little softer around your collar. Just make it leather at this point. But one thing that I do really like is that they have this thicker 1mm canvas right on the counter cover in there. That's the place that always wears out very first on any shoe, especially slip-ons, because you're just slipping in and out of them so much. It would be better if it was leather, but you know, these are pretty cheap shoes. But this red binding tape around that that also contributes to your Achilles getting absolutely chewed up during the initial break-ins as well. If we move to the insole and the insert, they both have this removable, it's canvas-topped pop cush. It's pretty thick at the heel. It's pretty standard. I think it's just like the standard pop cush insole that comes in all your skate Vans. It's super soft, and it only comes in at 13 to 15 Chore, which is super duper soft. You can see by the ball and bar drop test results here that, you know, it's really soft, and it's not gonna give you tons of response for all of that cushion. I personally struggle with the pop cush insoles. They are just too soft for me, and it starts kind of feeling like you're jumping in sand a bit, especially when the rest of the shoe starts to break in. But if you go to the outsole, they both have this nice vulcanized rubber outsole with 6-stick formula rubber, as Vans calls it. They call it their stickiest rubber ever. So what vulcanizing is, instead of like having an outsole and just like gluing it on, you have this bottom piece of rubber that gets put on, and then you wrap it around with all these extra pieces of rubber, and then they throw it in a big oven with a bunch of chemicals. It bonds together, makes it super light and flexible and really grippy right out of the box. But unfortunately, vulcanization is not as durable as like a cup sole. And if we take the durometers to see how soft they are, the bottom actually comes in at 57 to 60 Chore, and the foxing on the toe actually comes in at 70 Chore. So the lower the number, the grippier and softer it's gonna be right out of the box, but less durable. And the higher the number, the less grippy it's going to be, but it's going to last longer. So it is cool that they made it just like a titch harder on the toe, where most of your wear happens when you're ollie and kick flipping, and a little softer where you actually grip your board. And I really do like how high up the foxing goes. On the checkerboard pair, the foxing is doing all the heavy lifting for abrasion resistance. Like if it was any lower, you'd be cooking through these shoes in like 1 or 2 sessions. And you know, onto the stiffness tests, it's pretty soft. We ran the stiffness tests, and you can see where it measures in compared to the rest of the ones we've run the stiffness test on. But you know, it's a pretty soft standard Volk shoe. So let's get this thing cut in half. That's really the best way to see if Vans is hiding anything on the inside, or like where the quality's kind of taken a hit over the years. So let's chop them in half. So I got their tops off, and they're cut in half too, so watch out, fellas. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Those are the free things you can do to support us. Like this is a $120 video. We do this 3 or 4 times a week. We've been doing like $500 videos every week. So the best thing you guys can do to support us is just like, subscribe. Maybe go check out our leather products that we hand make just right over my shoulder, or like go check out some of the employee projects as well. So let's see what's inside, starting with the checkers and the suede. So now that it's cut in half, you can see it's a pretty standard Volk shoe. There's not much under your foot. The insole is doing all the heavy lifting, and then there's just fiberboard lasting material. There's a couple cool things in here that you might not even realize. Like underneath this lasting layer, there's a whole rubber layer that goes across the whole shoe that adds just maybe a little bit of like shock absorption and impact resistance. But under that layer is this little black layer, which is super stiff and super rigid. We've seen it in all the skate shoes. You can see how much stiffer it is up here than it is right here. Like this just folds in half. So you get a little bit of extra stiffness on your heel. Your heel is where you're gonna need to be the most stiff and most locked in for these shoes. But the Duracap does go all the way into the outsole, which is good to see. And the outsole is pretty dang thick. Like we measured it and comes in at 6.5 millimeters thick, which is really thick. I mean, usually most skate shoes are like 5.5 to 6 at the uppers. But what are the material cons that I do not like about this shoe? So I do not like this fake leather collar. I don't love the single stitching in the super high abrasion spots. Like, so actually, I accidentally just nicked this a little bit, and it's already starting to flay apart right there when I was cutting it apart. The checkerboard canvas is not nearly as good as suede for skating. The suede does stretch more, but like if you're buying this to actual skating, I would for sure go suede 100% of the time on every shoe almost for me. And I do have some subjective cons for me personally. So these might be pros for other people. So I can't really put them in like this is bad about this shoe, because you know, it's all about feeling in skate shoes. So personally, I don't love pop cush. It just gets a little bit too soft for me. Like it gets the job done, but especially as the shoe breaks in, it just feels softer and softer and softer, which I don't love, but I love a stiff shoe. And speaking of breaking in, they do break in a ton. They get really soft, but I like my feet really locked in there. So if you like a shoe that breaks in a lot and gets soft, that's a pro for you, but for me, it's a con. The fit for me is never worth the break-in period. Like I get them really tight. They break in forever. They stay really tight, but at the end of the day, they loosen up way too much for me to go through a month of breaking them in. And you know, they're a little bit on the thin side, which isn't bad. It's gonna feel like your normal vulcanized shoe. So for the full analysis of the shoe, so I came into this video like, hey, like I'm gonna bust Vans. There's no way these can be built good at all for $60. It's kind of what we do here at Rose Anvil. It's like, hey, this iconic shoe that everybody loves actually sucks. Isn't that crazy? Because we see it happen over and over and over and over again. I don't want to do it. It just happens. Like I hate scripting busted videos because I'm like, I want the shoes to be better, but some of them suck. But I honestly left pleasantly surprised with how these are built. Like, they're pretty solid beater shoes for $60. It's just like no frills, they get the job done. All my cons are mostly on the subjective side. Like, if it stayed stiffer, I would absolutely love these. So shout out to Vans, honestly. I don't know why the checkerboards are $5 more than the Suede. It seems like it should be opposite. I like that they stay stiffer, but I don't like that they're way less abrasion resistant. So I wish there was some sort of like in between you could do. They do have the Duracap, so that's good on them, but Duracap, usually whenever I see an extra layer, it's like, oh, time to fix that because I don't want to go through that second layer. It's like a warning flag. So let me know what you guys think about these shoes. I've never skated a checkerboard to death. I'll wear these shoes just in case we go out and skate, but like, I'm just wearing them for style. I don't know if a lot of these are actually worth the break-in period, but you know, once it's cut in half, I would say these are pretty well built for $60. I've seen much worse for much more expensive. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I have a big slip-on comparison coming down the line, so I wanted to start with the king of the slip-ons, the Vans. So we have a pretty good benchmark here. Let me know what other slip-ons I should buy for that, and like what you'd want to see out of that video, other tests we should incorporate. Check the comments below. It's a really good community resource for everyone to be like, oh, actually, when I skated these, I got this, this, and this. And that's the cool part I like about the comment sections. So go check out everything below. I'll put Patchworks in the link below, along with all the other employee projects to give everybody some shine. Shout out to Rose Anvil for letting us be able to like make our own companies out of working here. So it's kind of sick. I'm out of here. Insert Spicoli quote to end video here.